Hey everyone. So it's a full moon tonight. No surprise that Spirit has guided me to come on here today. And it's really wild how everything's panning out lately. It's like the simultaneous time is becoming more and more, relevant. I've been saying that all along, but it was just like, I have no idea what happened to this week. Apparently it's Friday. I don't know where all the time went. It's just insane. But yesterday I go outside as my kids are about to walk to school, and I look in my backyard and there's this huge rainbow, and it's like directly centered over my backyard. And I'm just like, okay, first of all, thank you, just showing my gratitude and just like being in that moment. But there was so much symbolism in it that I had to really sit with it and just allow spirit to bring in that, download or information or whatever needed to come forward for me about it. And I don't share all my synchronicities on YouTube or anything, but when I feel that they're relevant and they need to be shared with everyone and it's for everyone, I definitely do. And so what kept coming through was just like, when does a rainbow come? It comes after the storm, right? So after the storm, we get gifted, almost like, as an example in the Bible, when after the flood and the rainbow came, it was like this symbolism of just hope and inspiration and just like joy, like you made it through, right? And it was totally that energy for me when I was feeling into it. And the interesting thing is, after you make it through that darkness, you get this rainbow. And when you bring all the colors together, what does that create? It creates the light. So it's like going through this darkness and then finally getting over that hump and then being in that light and just being appreciative. And for how far you've come, how many dark nights that you've went through, all these patterns and cycles that you've been able to overcome that generation upon generation before you hasn't been able to touch. And they've just been passing it unconsciously down to their children and their grandchildren and just repeating that cycle. I mean, we've been repeating these cycles from Lemuria, Atlantis. We've been repeating these generational cycles for the longest, guys. And the crazy thing is like your ancestors are with you, blah, blah, blah. You hear people say that. We are our ancestors. Every single time a child is born, an ancestor is born back into this reality to try to come back and assist humanity in getting through all of this karma, all of these cycles, all of this trauma. We are our ancestors. We are here for ourselves. When we say thank you, Spirit, thank you, God, we're thanking ourselves. And that's just like, that really came through for me today, because it was interesting this morning. I knew I wanted to come on and share today. I kind of wanted to. Yesterday I started receiving downloads, but it wasn't yet. It wasn't quite yet. So I got into this interesting space this morning and I was like, you know what? I'm going to pray out loud. Almost every single time I pray out loud, I'm crying, but which is beautiful because it's a release, right? So I'm probably at least 30 minutes into praying out loud and everything's just coming up. If you want to release, if you want to learn how to really sit with your feelings and everything that you hold in, say it out loud, pray out loud, talk to spirit. I don't need a therapist. I am my own therapist. I just connect in with my higher self and I have those conversations and I just talk to spirit. Sorry about my dog. She's a barker, can't control it. So anyways, that is what spirit wanted me to come through with, is we are the ancestors. Like, we are them still trying to get through these cycles. Like, when are we going to stop? We're looping and looping and looping. We've been looping for lifetimes. We're here to save ourselves, right? So that is such a powerful energy flowing through. And I thought that rainbow was just like this ray of hope for me. I was just like, I feel like I've shifted everything. I feel like I've gone through so many dark nights. I've healed and alchemized so much. And I'm like, okay, like I'm sitting here, I'm in a peaceful place. I've manifested a lot. I have everything that I need. And I'm grateful. I have peace. I have a lot of peace in my life now, right? And it's not that, it's like I have to get into this space where I'm like, not gonna be reaching for anything. I don't need to be anything other than who I am and what I am right now, and just be conscious not to loop and not to like go back and repeat old patterns, right? Now you kind of treat life a little bit differently, right? So sorry, I can hear my daughter and the dog in the background. It's so distracting sometimes. But back on track, it's just like another thing is when the whole turning that darkness into light, like having the dark nights of the soul, having this looping pattern come around to the point where you literally cannot stand to respond to it in the same way anymore, because it's just like you've raised your frequency so high that you can no longer tolerate things that aren't a matching frequency to you. So that's why we grow out of jobs and relationships, and we come to these epiphanies in life, and we realize that we get to choose, like Robin Williams says in that one movie, I can't even think of it, Good Will Hunting. We get to choose who we want to let into our weird little worlds, right? And like we are really coming into that. And guess what? What happens when you're on the spiritual journey? You're going to be left with you in this weird little world, and you're going to have to learn how to generate that love from yourself. You're going to have to learn that joy and love and appreciation and just gratitude and a good fulfilling life all comes from inside of you. It's not coming from your job. It's not going to come from your relationship. It's not going to come from anything external, because really the only thing that exists in your reality is you. Not the human you, your soul, your spirit, in your using this avatar, right? The you that has been in every lifetime, the ancestor that's trying to clear everything, right? That's all you need to feel good. And you come into that space where you're not reaching anymore. And you just trust that everything is going to come to you because you are that magnet. You have raised your frequency to the point where things are magnetized to you. Especially if you're thinking about like a relationship. Oh, I want a relationship so bad, right? And guess what? This is another weird thing. It's like you have to just be able to generate that love from you. You have to have that solitude, right? So when do you know that you're like ready to be so like detached and you've generated love from yourself, and you know that's you and how you have a fulfilling life? When are you ready to allow something from the outside in? And the answer to that is observing whatever it is, the job, the person that you want to be in a relationship with, whatever, even the creative endeavor, and saying, is this in alignment with who I am? Is this in alignment with of the highest good for me? And that's how you know. My dog cannot stand that I'm up here and not letting her up here right now. But anyways, yeah, that is what, and my biggest piece of advice coming from this video, because I could have to make a quick one because I have my daughter here home from school and my dog. My biggest piece of advice is to pray out loud. Pray out loud and let every single emotion because once you start saying things out loud, you realize how powerful it really is. And it will just pull it out of you. I was sitting there saying what I needed in my life, but at the same time recognizing I need nothing, right? Because you can have these conversations. Everything is a paradox. You have to play with this avatar and use it in the video game in order to generate or like gain a higher frequency, if you want to put it in that way. It's not even that. Your mere beingness is the highest frequency you can think of, but half the time we're distracted and tapped out of that connection. It's always there. We're making a conscious or unconscious choice to either connect with it or not connect with it. And our matrix ass world is asking us not to connect with it. And we have to be the ones to be like, I'm not gonna watch porn. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna walk with integrity, right? We have to make those choices. Those are choices that are of a higher frequency. You're walking with a higher sense of integrity, right? It really is about that. It really is about that. So when they talk about that and all these different religions and stuff, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. You know what does resonate in a lot of religions and stuff? Love, peace, walking in integrity, not lying, cheating, stealing. Like, come on, guys. Like, this doesn't have to be hard. This is common sense. But our lower nature, it pulls us to have what? Casual sex. Like, I know people will be triggered by that, but that really is a lower nature desire, because you want to harness your creative energy in order to use it in whatever way you want to use it in the world. But if you're just depleting it by sharing and exchanging energy with just anyone, like not even caring what they're carrying in their energetic field, in their aura, just exchanging demons, really. And a demon, you can look at it in a bunch of different ways. Everybody wants to go straight, their mind wants to go straight to a certain direction. But a demon can be alcoholism. A demon can be shopping too much. Those are addictions, right? Or a demon could be manipulating people through sex or manipulating people with money. Like, a demon is any lower vibrational desire that's pulling you externally instead of inward in that connection to God. Because when you're connected to the universe, God, your higher self, you're not going to make decisions that are against your higher knowingness of what's walking in integrity and doing the right thing. That's how you raise your frequency. What the heck do you think Jesus was doing? Like, he was walking around, all he had to do was be him and shine his light. He was totally connected and going inward and in that Christ consciousness energy. That's what it is. It's a certain energetic frequency in the fifth dimension that you can connect into. And once you connect into that, it's effortless. People, you either trigger people with your light, or they feel that and they're like, wow, I see. Just like they say, what would Jesus do? That's because he was embodying that frequency and he was that example. It wasn't saying Jesus can only do this, worship me. No, it was like, you can do this too. You can tap in to your higher self, embody that light, be a light worker, and walk in integrity and show people how it's done. Or you can give into your lower desires and what the matrix is trying to project onto you and to keep you in lower frequencies so they can control you through your mind. They do it through television. They do it through just projecting how they say life should be, how they think life should be, literally having a whole system created around an inverted nature, totally disconnected from the organic nature, literally outside nature, who you innately would want to be. Think about men and women dynamics in like tribes or even in animal units, right? Everybody plays a certain role, but now they want women to play the man role, man to play the women role, and they got everything all inverted. And that's why everybody is depressed, and there's high suicide rates, and there's like so many people disconnected from who they really are and just staring at a screen all day. It is weird to me that like it's normalized to like not like being in nature. Oh, that person's just not a nature person. Are you kidding me? Like, are you not a person? You know what I mean? Like, we all need that. We all need to go literally unlearn almost everything we've been programmed to learn in this world that we live in as human beings, and just flip it on its ass and go back to who you are, who you sense. Use your intuition. It's hard to use your intuition when you're completely disconnected from nature. It's insane. It's like animals that live out in nature, but we can never quite get like a good look at them, or we think they're extinct, but they're really there. But they're so in tune and they're so connected to their environment that it's like effortless to be unseen. They're not even a match to the frequency of a human being seeing them, because first of all, why would they want to put themselves in harm's way? You don't know what a human's going to do, because we really don't walk with integrity, right? Like you just don't know. People don't care really. But anyways, that's so off on a tangent. It's so me. Anyways, moral of the story is pray out loud, because everything's going to come up. Like, so for me, like I prayed out loud this morning and I cried and cried and cried. So then I was like, I wanted to make a video, but I got a cry face. But then I was like, no, I'm just going to go take a shower and just wash everything that just came up, just wash it down the drain. So then I continued to pray out loud in the shower and just affirm that I was like taking all this energy, and I was literally pulling the energy out of me like this. When I was doing my out loud prayer before my shower and in the shower, I'll pull everything out and I'll just like really get into that, almost like a ritual of washing away what doesn't serve the highest good. Anything that's not for me, I let go. Any type of trauma, karma, anything I'm clearing for the bloodlines, I release it now. We don't need to go ask somebody to do some type of spiritual work on us in order to clear. This is such a personal thing. I went and I got a past life regression done once and a little bit of Reiki on me, which was crazy because I was like, my eyes were twitching and everything like that. That's the only time, and this was probably like 5 years ago. It's the only time I've ever been to anybody for any type of healing. All of it has been me on my own, in my home, in the privacy of my own space, just purging and writing and praying out loud and just like going through life, but learning my lessons. Like I'm not going to repeat the cycle. I see what I'm doing here. I see how I'm being manipulated, or I'm manipulating. Like, don't be afraid to own your shit. If you're afraid to own your shit and you're so much shame that you're like, no, that's not me. Sometimes people have so much shame in them for what they do, they can't acknowledge that they're doing it and they justify it, right? It's just like somebody who's a functioning addict. Well, I work and I pay my bills, so I can just numb with this substance because I do what I'm supposed to do. But it's like, actually, that's you dipping into your lower nature every day because you're afraid to sit with yourself. You're afraid to talk out loud to God and admit this or that, or say like, I don't deserve this, or, you know, just like have those conversations, truly have those deep conversations. For me, I like when the house is empty, because sometimes I'm just like, I have to make sure my kids downstairs so they don't hear me like, you know, get worried about mom in the bathroom crying and talking to God. But like, that's what I mean. Like when you're your house is clear, right? And you can just go in the bathroom and like not have to think about not one person hearing you, right? That's when you can really be so vulnerable. And you're being vulnerable with spirit, but you're really being vulnerable with yourself because you are spirit. Like you are everyone. That's why doing the work is so like it's so interesting when you come into these realizations when you're praying. And you're like, thank you for this. I'm grateful for this. And I'm like, I'm thanking me. I'm thanking me for like doing through these cycles, you know? And if you want to do the work and you want to change the world, if you go inside and you heal you, you are everyone. So you are healing the world. If you're like, it's so people pleasing to be like, I can't focus on me because I have like all these other people to take care of. It's like, if you want to take care of them, focus on you. Because once you focus on you, your cup is going to be overflowing. Your light is going to be so bright. And then you're really going to be able to serve. You're really going to be able to just walk around like a lighthouse, being that beacon. People are like, what's up with them? I don't know, but I kind of like it. Yeah. You know, and it's that vibe. It really is. And so the best way you can serve is to really dive deep into you and stop distracting yourself on social media or with screens or with work or with the gym or with a relationship or with booty calls or whatever it is for you, addiction, porn, whatever it is. Stop distracting yourself. Go inside and ask yourself, like, am I really walking integrity? Am I really like taking care of myself? Because sometimes it's so interesting. The word selfish is interesting because selfish can be a good thing and a bad thing, right? You know it's a good thing if what you're doing for you is creating this healing, creating this purge. And it's interesting. If you're doing it right, you're probably going to go to some pretty dark places. You're probably going to cry. You're probably going to have a dark night of the soul if you're doing it right. If you're getting all escapey on yourself, and you're just like, I'm going to go shopping. I'm going to get my nails done. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go on a dating app and just date a bunch of people just so I can be around people. Or I'm just going to go out and drink with my friends all the time, blah, 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 blah. Like, that's not self-care. And this world will tell you it is. This world will tell you all this reaching externally is self-care. That's selfish. Because true self-care, you will be doing the inner work, you will be facing yourself, you will be feeling your shit, and inadvertently, because of that healing and that deeper connection, raising your frequency, that is selfless, because that is the greatest service you could do anybody. It's the greatest service you could do anybody. And so don't let the world get it twisted on what self-care is, because self-care is all about healing. It's get in the salt bath, get in there and talk and pray out loud that what your intentions are, basically. It can go in any direction. And then have that gratitude. Sit there and affirm things to yourself about how much, and look in the mirror and say, I love you every single day. That is self-care. Not getting on the phone so you can talk to somebody so you don't have to think about life and the shit going on in it. You really have to embrace that solitude. That solitude is where the work is done. And solitude isn't like, I'm at home alone, but then I call my friends and I'm on my phone, I'm watching movies. Like, it can be while you're cleaning or something, because you can really be connected to spirit while you're like doing some task around the house or something, right? But not if you're listening to a podcast. Isn't that crazy? So we listen to podcasts. I do every once in a while now, but that's really, it can feel like self-care if you're getting some spiritual message out of it. So it can be that. But if you're using it to escape, like you'd use it to watch a movie, it's not. It's like running away from it. It's not that you can never do these things. It's not that. What it is like you do them so often that you never do the thing that you really need to do, right? Which is like dig deep, pray out loud. Do these rituals where you're cleansing your energetic field. Give a shit about protecting yourself. Don't just engage with just anybody. It's interesting because like I don't need to go out and hang out with friends all the time or anything like that to feel fulfilled. And I don't need to do that in order to spread light. I spread it just by making YouTube videos. And now I'm in the schools subbing, and I don't even have to work that much, but I'm reaching so many people, teachers, kids, everybody on YouTube, and I barely ever have to hang out with anyone. Isn't that beautiful for an INFJ who just wants to be left alone majority of the time, right? So just like, you know who you are. You know what works for you. You know what's reaching externally and numbing and not focusing on the true self-love. And you know what's the ego, right? We're to that point. Let's be honest with ourselves. If you pray out loud and you speak out loud to spirit, you start getting really honest with yourself. Because say a lie out loud. It's a lot harder to say a lie out loud, isn't it? But if you keep saying the truth, like when you're praying to spirit, you're not going to be talking mess on yourself. That's usually like when you're frantically running around trying to please the matrix. That's when you're going to be like, fuck, you didn't do this. And what's wrong with you? And blah, blah, blah. Like, you're not going to say that with spirit. You're going to give yourself affirmations and clear your energy and whatever it is for you, right? I thought I was going to get off here, but I guess not. But the moral of the story is, guys, is like, check yourself. Hasn't this been my message for the last like 5 years? Check yourself. Everything is pointing back to you. Everything. And if you can really go inside and feel that fulfillment from yourself, it's coming. Everything's coming. Everything just is a magnet to you. We really, really have to get there in our space, though, in our energetic space. And we have to give a shit about what we put into our bodies, what we put into our hearts, our minds, our environments, the people we hang out with, our intentions in every moment. And the only thing that really matters anyways is this moment right now. So we really want to be conscious of the way that we show up. But yeah, guys, I love you. Enjoy the full moon. And I don't know when I'll be back, but my dog's barking at me right now. Bye.